What's up, gingos? Today I just want to talk about the idea of like financial habits, right? I feel like everybody has their own financial habits, but everybody wants to become financially free. They all want to have a financially abundant mindset, and it doesn't just come, right? You need to like study, you need to learn about it, you need to understand what other people are doing that are good, rather than the people who are doing learn from the people who are doing bad financially, and people learn from people who are doing good financially, right? And so some of the habits that I picked up, like beyond like the idea of financial literacy, like you should look into that, read into that, find all the information that you can to absorb, right? Because the more you know about finances, the better you handle your own finances, right? And so I have a different, like for me personally, right? I have a different set of habits that I do for my own financial being and healthiness. And it's like eventually I want to become financially free. Eventually, I always want this mindset of being like financially abundant, right? You don't want to be stingy and like frugal your whole life. You want to be able to be like, yeah, spend that money. Let me buy that gift. Let me get that car, whatever it may be, right? But you obviously need abundant mindset. You need to understand how money works. You need to understand money is a tool. You need to understand that money is always flowing. And if you have the right skills and knowledge, you can accumulate more and more of it, right? So spending it won't really hurt you. But until you're in that position, you need to have good habits in place, right? Because like I remember reading in a book, it was talking about the idea that if a guy made $1 million a year and he spent 950,000 a year, and versus this guy who made 100K a year and he only spent 30K, that guy who makes 100K is actually richer because he saves 70K every year. So over a long enough period of time, he'll actually have more money, right? So that all comes from your financial habits. And so like one thing that I do is I track my finances, like my net worth essentially, in an Excel sheet every month, right? So I have all my bank balances, I have my credit cards and my debit cards, I have all my portfolios listed out, I have all my loans that I have out, like as in like money people like owe me, I have all my cash, like I have everything listed out, and month over month I see how much my net worth increases, right? In that Excel sheet I have everything listed out though. It's like that's a little excessive. All you really have to do is like your net worth, just to like see where your money, how much money you actually have, right? That's what your net worth is. It's actually real. It's not some bullshit that Google tells you, right? And like you can track everything else like I do, but it's excessive. Like I track how much I spend on my gas, my gym membership. I track how much my vacations cost. I track how much like my car costs, like ticket wise. If I have to get like a new tire, I track how much money I put into my portfolios month over month. And these are things that you can track if you really care that much about the data and metrics like I do. But again, that's the main habit right there. Is just focus on your net worth increasing month over month. And how you do that is just have everything balanced out. Because then you'll actually see like, oh, why am I owing this much money? Like, what did I actually buy this month? And then you see like, oh, you see this month was a really good month. I wonder why. What did I do that month? Did I work extra hours? I do this and that. Whatever. It lays it out for you, right? And another one that I recently realized that I did, right, is so yesterday I went shopping, right? And I tend to not shop a lot because I find it like useless. Like I don't like being a part of the whole consumerism, but it's like sometimes you just need to buy stuff, right? And I mean like I'm not talking about like food or like groceries. I'm talking about like clothes, right? I already have an excess amount of clothes that I'm not like it's not like you can't wear all your clothes all the time, right? And you typically wear the same ones over and over again. So I find it that I'm gonna buy the useful pieces, that ones that like my essentials, and then just wear them on a repeated basis. I do laundry every 2 weeks, whatever, right? But I was like, you know what? I'm going on vacation soon. I've been wearing the same clothes for a little while now. I'm getting a little bored. I want more clothes or whatever, right? And so I did a bunch of shopping yesterday, right? And it was like the most I spent in months. And but what I realized, like I spent a big chunk of money across like 6 different websites, like spending like $300-400 on each site or whatever, right? But it didn't bother me, right? Because one, I'm fine. I'm in a financially healthy situation where I know I'm gonna make the money back anyway. On top of the fact that all the money that I spent are for useful, necessary items that I'm gonna use for a long period of time. If you buy something based off a trend, you might use it right now and then you might not use it next week. You might buy a toy that you only find fun for one day. But if you're buying like clothes and shoes or whatever, like I did, you know that you're gonna wear them and use them for the next couple of years, especially if you're a bit older and you're not gonna like your feet aren't growing no more, you're not really changing size in terms of like your clothes or whatever. So like if I spent like $160 on shoes, right? It's not like I spent $160 on shoes for this one day or 1 week or even 1 year. It's $160 for like the next 4 years. So it's really I'm only paying $40 a year for these shoes. Even though I'm paying it all right now, it's you gotta measure it over the lifespan of whatever product you bought, right? So try to buy things that are more and necessary when you actually need them, right? On top of that, what I realized I did is the last time I bought shoes was when I graduated, no, when I was still in high school before COVID. and I just recently graduated college, senior year, right? So it's been like 4 years since I bought shoes, and I just been wearing I have a couple pairs of shoes, right? But I just wear them on repeat or whatever, right? Because like shoes are shoes, they're getting you from point A to point B. You don't really need an excessive amount. People who have like 30, 40 pairs of shoes make no sense to me because they never ever wear more than 5 pairs. You always just tend to wear the same 2 or 3 anyway, right? So I did that, but I recently just bought 4 new pairs of shoes, right? And I plan on wearing them for a prolonged period of time. But it's like the best thing that I've realized is you save a lot of money, right? Save, 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 save. And then when you spend, to spend a lot all at once, right? And it just won't bother you because the portion that you spent is so little in comparison to how much you save for the long period of time that it's like less than 10%, 20, like 15% like it was for me, right? So again, you'll be financially healthy, you won't be financially stressed, and you get all of these things all at once. And it comes from the idea that when you crack a little, you crack a lot, or when it rains, it pours, right? So what I try to do is like someone who buys month over month, every time they buy a little bit, they'll buy a lot, right? So they do this every month and eventually accumulates a big portion. But me, if I'm saving for 6 months, a year, 2 years, then when I spend in one day, I end up spending a lot in that one day, even though it's more than what a person who is spending it on a monthly basis would spend. Like if a person spends every month like $100, and then I spend up, and over the course of a year they spend 1,200, even maybe 1,500 because they always went a little bit over the budget or whatever, right? Because when you crack a little, you crack a lot, right? Me spending 1,000 in one day over the course of like a year or 2 years is still less than what that person spent, if that makes sense, right? So because I'm telling you that like quote, when I heard it, it makes so much sense. When it rains, it pours. It happens every time, right? It's like even when you like the moment when you eat food, when you eat a little bit of junk food, you want to eat more, right? You're like, you know what, I already ate this slice of pizza. What's the bag of chips gonna do, right? I already ate the bag of chips. What is the cake gonna do? Whatever, right? So when you crack a little, you crack a lot. So what I try to do is I try to get it all out in one day. So what I did was I was looking at these shoes and I was like, I kind of want them. I waited for a little while. I was like, do I really need them, this or that, right? And then when I bought the shoes, then I went on another side, bought more shoes. Then I went on another side, bought clothes, another with clothes, another with clothes, and another with clothes. And then I bought a gift, right? So it's like, but now that I got it all out the way, I won't have to shop for a long time, which is good on my part. But it's like this idea of save, 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 spend. Save, and then spend, right? Such a good financial habit because not only are you saving so much, and when you spend a lot, you get it out of the way, and you get it, the psychology doesn't get you fucked up or nothing. But on top of all of that, you're able to withstand all the trends that come and go, and you're able to just look at, okay, what things actually lasted, what things will actually be useful for me. And then during that whole time, you use the resources that you have. You're maximizing your own resources, which is a really good skill to have. And then you just buy in all the things that you needed to replace or whatever the case may be, and then you buy it all at once. You get it out of the way, and then after that, you won't have to buy it for a long time. And if you need like a small replacement, like you just have to like buy new boxers or buy new undershirts or something like that, it won't cost you that much, right? You're never gonna spend that big amount again, and then you're able to just continuously spend, be like, you know what, I have a lot of clothes, I don't need this and that, whatever, right? And I'm just like explaining this to you because it's the whole idea of financial habits, right? You need to have good financial habits. If you can track your money, you always know where you're going. If you have budgets, if you can get into this mindset of save, spend, so you don't continuously spend and like end up accumulating more than a regular person who spends a little bit every month will always eventually accumulate an overall bigger spent amount than someone who just spends once, even though it's a big amount coming out at once, right? Again, find your own financial habits. If you want to use the ones that I said, I would highly recommend it. Tracking your money has changed my life. Like I've never been bad with money. I've always been good with math, and I love Excel. So tracking it was kind of fun for me. On top of that, just this one I recently realized, when I like always save a lot, then I spend a lot, and then I save a lot for a long period, and I spend a lot in one period, if that makes sense, right? And that's what I do, and I think it's a really good habit so far. It hasn't done me wrong. And the third thing I do is kind of like what people do with tracking their calories. When they're tracking your calories is like the worst thing to do, but you need to do it because most people just don't understand how much they're consuming. And so like for the first 6 months when I was trying to lose weight, I was tracking my calories as you're supposed to. And after that, I was like, I don't want to ever do this shit again, right? And I had to like, you got a better grasp of how much each like item that you eat actually has in terms of calories. You understand like how long it takes you to burn a certain amount of calories. Like it takes me like 36 minutes to burn 400 calories on a Stairmaster, and it takes me for less than 5 minutes, eat 2 bags of chips, which is like 480 calories, right? Things like that, right? And so what I do is I call it my own personal accounting. So week over week, I look at how much money I make, and I track everything that I spend that isn't a reoccurring purchase. So all the clothes that I spent, I put them into my thing. I'm in a negative, right? Because I spend so much or whatever, depending on your income or whatever. But like most weeks, I'm like, I spend close to nothing because I don't want to track it, right? So it's like a psychology trick. But another thing is like I don't track, like I track my gas, but I don't put it within my accounting, right? Like accounting would be like the meals that you buy, because these are all variable costs. So it's like, could you have spent a little bit less? Could you have spent a little bit more? Did you really need this? So like things like haircuts and gas, I don't track because I just need those things, right? Gas, I need to go for my car, and haircuts is my own personal maintenance, right? So, but like if I buy like McDonald's one day, it's like $14, and I go buy Shake Shack another day, it's like 25. Those are things I track into it's like my weekly expenses for against my weekly income, and I see how much I spent. And it, for some reason, it just makes you not want to spend anymore. And once you get into this idea of, let me just save my money, again, it's just like when it rains, it pours. It goes the other way too. When you save a little bit, you want to save a lot, and when you spend a little bit, you want to spend a lot. So get into the mindset of, when you just, let me just save a little bit this week. Let me not eat out, and then you start ending up saving a lot over a long period. Like I didn't even know how I saved up so much money. It just started, like my bank account just kept getting padded and padded and padded, and then I was able to spend. Nonetheless, learn good financial habits. It'll get you into the financial freedom that you always wanted, and in the end, we're gonna win.